Does anybody wanna say some things? Yes,
Do you have
no?
I got this. Do you have that?
Yes.
I always like to just say random words like test.
Test.
But.
Huh?
I was gonna show spread and I got.
Yep.
You guys ready?
Should be any license.
Okay. All right, we'll get started. Welcome everyone to the July 24th, 2025 BAR small meeting. My name is Lindsay Van Slambrook. I'll be your chairwoman tonight. Fellow board members present with me today are Daryl Cobb, Becky Fenno, Phil Turner, and Fillmore Wilson. City staff present are Travis Scally, Senior Preservation Planner, and Frankie Pinto, BARS Administrator. The order of tonight's meeting will be as follows. For each application, we'll hear an introduction and overview of the project for the benefit of the board and the public. This will be followed by the applicant's presentation. If you are the applicant, please approach the podium, state your name first and last for the record, and anyone speaking on behalf of the applicant, this would be owners, designers, consultants, architects, should speak during the applicant presentation versus during public comment, and you'll have a 10-minute period of time to make your presentation. By ordinance, the board can ask questions of the applicant at any time. By custom, we do so on the heels of the applicant's presentation. This will be followed by public comment. Any written public comment that was timely submitted has been provided to the board in advance of the meeting for review. If you are speaking as a member of the public, please raise your hand. I'll recognize you and approach the podium. State your name first and last for the record, and also your address if you're a neighbor nearby. Followed by public comment, we'll hear city staff recommendations. And following that, the applicant will have a 5-minute period of time to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or anything in the city staff comments and recommendations. After the applicant response period, public comment, the applicant's presentation will be closed, and we'll move into board discussion and a vote. Results will be posted online at the city's website. And the following items have been withdrawn or deferred this evening. Item B1, 62 Queen Street, B9, 148 Smith Street, and B13, 106 Columbus Street. Please turn off your cell phones and remember that the purview of this board is architecture only. So anything related to zoning, livability, stormwater is not within the purview of this board and should not be voiced here. Right. We'll get started. Agenda item A1 is review of the minutes from July 10th, 2025 meeting. I make a motion to approve with the revisions that I circulated to the board this afternoon. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Becky. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. The motion passes unanimously. Agenda item B1, 62 Queen Street has been withdrawn by the applicant. Agenda item B2, 178 Sansucci Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
78 Sansucci Street, Illinois Terrace. It's Council District 6, Category 4 in our architectural inventory, circa 1935 in the historic materials demolition purview. I'm requesting approval for a partial demolition, including siding, a left door, overhang, and steps, and to demolish 6 inches from the bottom of the rear left window. This is the property's location on Sansucci. And I will turn it over to the applicants.
Hello, how are you guys? My name is Gina Mullen. I'm representative for homeowners.
Hi, my name is Mike Whitby. My wife and I are looking forward to renovating our house, and this is the second submission we have for some construction ideas. We did make some adjustments from the board's first decisions. And Gina, our property manager, has some aspects of what we're asking for now that will help us enhance the home and also the neighborhood and keep as much of the historical look as possible.
So as Mike said, this is our second presentation to y'all, and to give just a brief review of what was granted originally, what we removed, and what we're revised requested. So on our first meeting on June 26th, we were granted approval to remove the front porch roof, a small section, a little rectangle of the front porch that we'll see on the plans. That's staying off the bridge by 6 inches, and then the rear facing flat roof windows, siding, and doors. We had originally requested to remove the fireplace on the front of the house, the front gable, small rectangle sections above all windows, double set of windows on the front right side of the house, and then all the windows on the left side of the house. we have canceled all that. That was not approved by y'all, and we have canceled that from our request as well, after going back and considering your comments and looking at what could be reworked within the design of the house. We are currently requesting, if you look at the bottom of this page on the left side elevation, the far window on the left, that's the back of the house, 6 inches from the bottom of that, the gable over that side entrance, that side door, and the steps. In addition, a new request is to remove all of the siding. This is the siding only, no framing is in that request. For the left side door, we did discover that it does not appear the gable, or not the gable, but the overhang over the left side door was original to the house. We don't see any evidence of framing coming through the siding. With our contractor, Anthony DeZena, we are suspecting that that might have been added when the vinyl siding was added to the house, the way it was constructed there. The door, I can't say the same, that it was probably original based on framing, but the overhang does not appear to be. In examining the siding that is underneath the existing vinyl, there is wood there that does appear to be original to the house. And my clients are concerned, the siding is not really in pristine shape. And they are concerned about being able to maintain it as they age, as this is their forever home, and do not want to end up with a home that is really hard for them to maintain for elders. We recognize, and they recognize, that the goal is to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood with historical features, but are concerned about the hardship that it might create on them to keep all of the wood siding. Especially as age comes down the line.
And there's a lot of vinyl that's still on the house that we do not know what's underneath. And the condition of the wood siding now is really bad, a lot of rotted areas, especially above the door and the hood that we are asking to take down. It's really badly rotted. So we would like to be able to do all 4 sides of the siding removal and do something that is pleasing for the entire neighborhood.
And these are just, you guys did site visits, I'm sure you're familiar with the elevations. I think that is it. Any questions about the pictures or diagrams or explanation there? The scope of request?
Just for clarification, because the notes on your drawing says on the left side, the reference is side gable. That's a reference to the door hood,
Yes, the door
not
overhang.
the actual gable
Sorry,
of the
yeah.
house. Okay, just for clarification. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Do we have anyone speaking from the public?
Key Utilities for Charleston Foundation, HCF has reviewed the request for partial demolition and supports the removal of the vinyl siding, but is opposed to the complete removal of the wood siding that likely dates to the 1935 construction date. The original siding is custom milled and serves as a character-defining feature. The purpose of the historic materials demolition review is to maintain the historic and cultural significance of the neighborhood. We respectfully request that the historic wood siding be repaired rather than replaced. Thank you.
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning, and while we are not opposed to the removal of the vinyl siding, the wood siding beneath is likely original. Instead of full demolition of the wood siding, we encourage the applicant to work with staff to pursue selective repair and replacement in kind. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking from the public? Okay, Frankie, if you give us the staff comments and recommendations, please.
Okay. Staff just had the observations, per our policy for the historic materials demolition purview. Siding can be repaired in kind at a staff level. However, staff cannot approve the wholesale replacement of siding or of any material really, but per the city architect. The wholesale removal of siding would allow any material or profile to be used as a replacement. While windows are a character defining feature, staff does not object to the enlargement of a single window, especially as it is on a later addition. And the side door with overhang is character defining. A door can be retained and covered on the interior if the board does not approve its removal. So that is potentially an option staff could work with the applicant on. The staff recommendation is a denial of siding, left door, overhang and steps, and approval of the window alteration.
Thank you, Frankie. Did the applicant want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the staff comments before we move into board discussion?
No, thank you. All
Okay.
there.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. Just to be clear, from the outset, we don't think we have purview over the rear. So anything that you do on the rear, I don't think we have demolition
Yeah,
authority over.
Full rear, not visible to the right of way.
Yes, yeah.
I agree with the staff and presentation groups about the siding. I call it bullnose siding. I think you said you call it thumbnail siding.
Thumbnail.
Yeah, because it's a very unique siding type. You don't see it around much. And from being out there today, from what I saw, much of it is repairable. And I would prefer that they work with staff for repairs instead of wholesale replacement. However, on the addition, I believe there's that one wall where the windows going to be enlarged. Well, that was being retained. So on that addition, I wouldn't be so opposed to replacement of that bullnose siding on the addition itself, past that corner board. This now knowing that the side hood is not like the original, I think I can support that, as well as the door and the stoop coming off, and also the window enlargement. I'm opposed to the siding.
I certainly think that the siding is repairable. Some of it is a little rough and there's going to be some of it has to be replaced, but overall, I think it is in salvageable condition, and it is really interesting design that you don't see a lot, and undoubtedly original to the house. So I'm not supportive of wholesale replacement of the siding, and of course, repairing kind is not a board issue, but that's can be done at staff. And the hood over the side door is clearly, I'm not saying there wasn't a hood there originally. Often these little houses have that side door with a little hood and a stoop. But that one is clearly later, and materials to see. So I have a little less concern about the side door, but in the stoop than I do the side.
What do you think about?
And the window, I think the window in the back is, I don't have any objection to. Back. Have you ever heard? Afraid is window in the hood and the door, and save the siding. I think saving the siding is the most critical thing.
What do you think about Bill's suggestion that siding on the later addition? could
My
be
recollection is there is a corner board there,
There's a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we do think that addition is later. I would object to differentiating that if they wanted to. I don't really see the when you gain that siding's not bad on that addition. I don't think. I think if you're restoring the siding, that you don't see much by taking that siding off and putting something else there.
Not knowing what's going back on the whole addition construction.
Yeah,
If it makes sense to switch to another profile material that works with whatever else is going back, I would certainly.
that might, yeah, of course, we don't have any preview or
Right.
what's going back.
Exactly.
But,
Exactly.
You wanna make a motion on that?
sure. So to me, do I want to make a motion on that? No, that's. I would make a motion for denial of wholesale placement of siding on the original structure. And approval of demolition of the rear window on the left elevation, the door hood, the door and the stoop, and approval demolition of siding on the addition. And
Okay. And the applicant to wait the 30-day.
go,
All right, we have a motion on the floor for denial of demolition of siding on the original structure. But approval of demolition of the left door overhang and steps. And the window alteration as proposed. And a board condition the applicant wait the 30-day appeal period before pulling permits.
Did they also approve removal of siding on the addition?
Oh, and yes,
demolition of siding.
and demolition of the siding on the addition. Okay, do I have a second to Fillmore's motion?
A second.
Becky, put the motion to a vote. Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky.
Yeah, in favor.
The chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Okay, agenda item 328 Gordon Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction, overview of the project, please.
28 Gordon Street is in Wagner Terrace, Council District 6. It is also category 4 in the architecture inventory, circa 1940 historic materials and motion review. You're requesting approval for a partial demolition, including rear wall and portion of rear roof. This is the property's location on Gordon. I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Frankie. Hello, this Neil Stevenson. Thank you all for coming to the site this morning. I think that probably gave you a good idea of what we're dealing with on that block. It's kind of it's a tough flooding situation. So during the renovation of this, we're going to have to elevate and since we're elevating, we're going to build an addition in the back, which is going to require some demolition. Our plans are to restore the windows as much as possible, remove the vinyl siding, and restore the wooden siding as much as possible. And then remove that chimney, which you could see was kind of was built later, after the house was built, attached poorly to the house. And I would recommend that be removed immediately. Other than that, it's really just elevate the house, replace the entire foundation. And then try to keep the house as low as possible. It's going to be about 6 feet above ground.
Any questions?
You think the chimney is not original? Do you have any idea of when it might have?
I could not find any information on that, but you can see how the siding, while it's pulling away from the house, the siding is built runs behind it.
Do you know when the vinyl siding was put on?
I don't. There's some work done in like late 90s.
Even the vinyl siding goes behind.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know if maybe you'd know when the chimney was put on by when the vinyl
It
siding.
was put on after
It was after the vinyl siding, but. Any other questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciated the opportunity to attend the site visit this morning. We are generally comfortable with the scope of demolition proposed that facilitates the much needed elevation of this property and is largely concentrated to the rear of the property, which is less visible and has undergone previous alterations. However, we encourage the applicant to retain the corner boards on the historic mass at the rear to clearly define the historic footprint and show this building's evolution. Thank you.
Anyone else speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you'll give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff just had some observations. Chimneys are character defining features which should be retained. The proposal follows staff's typical comments regarding demolition. Demolition area of the roof is set in from the edges and pulled down from the ridge. And staff is not opposed to the demolition of the later additions roof. Staff recommendation was denial, demolition of chimney, and approval of portions of roof.
Thank you, Frankie. Neil, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised on the public comment or the city staff comments?
Only that, as you can see, that chimney is going to fall down itself if we don't do something. I don't think it would be, I don't think saving it's gonna, I don't think there's anything character defining about the chimney. And I don't think that the client is going to replace the fireplace, but I don't know if we can, I don't know if that chimney could be salvaged. If anything, it would have to be rebuilt. But again, it's not original with the house. And so that would be my only comment, is that we would like to demolish that chimney.
Thank you. All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I don't have any issue with any of the requests on the back side of the house. Other than I'd like to see pulling off the two corners. Yeah, 6 to 8 inches, whatever, preserve the corner boards. Regarding the chimney, it has to come down. I mean, it's surprised it hasn't fallen on the neighbor's house yet. It's clearly a later addition. I don't think it has a lot of character. I know generally we definitely want to preserve chimneys. But this one, it's a very small one. Not a lot of character, and it's gonna have to come down. So I'm fairly comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, I just don't mind. I noticed that house is gonna get elevated.
Mhm.
Needs to be as positive. There is a significant amount of demolition on the roof, but it's to the rear, which is what we generally approve. The chimney is not original and is significantly compromised. So it's not going to go up with the house. The only option would be to take it down and rebuild something that looked just like it. And I'm sort of on this. I don't know that that's it's not original. It's not necessarily particularly character defining relative to that house. So I don't think I have much problem with the chimney. The front porch, which is, it's got to come off. It's there, the elevation is all wrong on the front porch. And you said my caveats would be that the corners of the original house remain, and I think you should define what that means. Say that 6 inches of them or 8 inches of them. To kind of do that when we say that the corners have to remain, and I would want to see the back of the original house retained on either side of the area of demolition. Of the roof demolition.
I'm in agreement. Same page on this one.
Did Fillmore make a motion?
Don't want to make another one.
Okay.
Fillmore, did you make a motion for approval of the demolition as proposed with 2 board conditions, that the applicant preserve 6 inches of the corner boards at the rear and preserve the roof eave at the rear of the house?
The roof eave at the rear on either side of the proposed or the approved roof demolition.
Roof eave at rear of the house. On either side of area of demolition.
Approved.
retained. Okay. I'm gonna read that motion one more time. Oh, and we need to remember the 30 days, so that'd be a third one.
I didn't include it in my
You're fine.
notes.
I know we just started doing that, so. Okay, so I have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition as proposed with 3 board conditions that the applicant preserve 6 inches of the corner boards at the rear. And that the applicant also, the roof eave at the rear of the house on either side of the approved demolition area be retained. And the applicant wait 30 days, the 30-day appeal period before pulling permits. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Put the motion to a vote. Becky?
Yeah, in favor.
Daryl?
Yeah, in favor.
Fillmore?
Yeah, in favor.
Bill?
Yeah, in favor.
The chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Yeah, clarify, there's a new rule that you can't pull permits.
It comes down from
It
legal.
is not a new rule. It is within the ordinance, but since people were not aware of this, we've been including it in the board motion just to let people know.
Okay,
So it was already in the ordinance. It's just for clarification.
okay, so don't submit for permits.
You can submit, I just can't approve it.
For 30 days.
So you are welcome to submit. I just put a note in them, what date they may be approved.
Great, thank you very much.
Agenda item 4, 1130 King Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
Okay, so 1130 King Street is in North Central Council District 4. So it is a category 4 in the architecture inventory circa 1935 in the historic corridor district, requesting approval for partial demolition of rear addition. This is the property's location on King Street. Yeah, I will turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chelsea Anderson with Capital Forum. I'm the architect working on this project. Thank you, everyone who attended the site visit this morning. I hope it really helped in your analysis this evening. So we have the survey here in case we need it for reference. And some photos we saw today. We're looking at the rear of a enclosed porch addition, but we don't really know the year of when this addition was formed, but we analyzed it this morning. The backyard and how it relates to the neighbor. And what you can kind of see from the side, you really can't see much of the rear.
And Ms. Anderson, I'm just gonna interrupt you really quickly. I realize this is one of them. We're, since it's 2 separate agenda items, you just go over the demo now.
Yes.
And then
exactly.
we'll hear the second part. Just,
Treat them as 2 separate.
yes.
Yes, got it. So here's a drone shot of that rear portion of the home. And a bit about the history, we've found that we think it's Sears kit home. And interesting to note on the floor plan of the Sears home that it ends right after the little dining nook bay window. And then there's also a sister home that the Preservation Society located at 28 Maple Street. Although I will note, like, the roof appears to be a much lower pitch on our home. And then on the Sanborn maps of what we could find, 1944 and 1955, the porch is visible and it appears that it is in alignment with the sides of the home. Again, the historic structure versus the enclosed porch. We believe the home was around 1935, but Kevin Aberl reached out to me and thought it was 1918 from his research. And the enclosed porch, again, we don't know the date. And then we have the city research as much as they could find on permit records. And what they did see that the aluminum siding was added in 1977 along with new roofing material. And so in the working drawings, we're looking at the enclosed porch to the rear to be demolished. Also, window trim in the aluminum siding. And as we could see within the interior of the home, there could be some original siding underneath the aluminum siding.
and we would like to restore it once we're able to uncover it. And any remaining trim that is there. And then on the south elevation, we wish to move, so keeping all the windows that are there, but we want to move this on the south elevation because of its position in the primary bedroom. It's right behind what would be the ideal headboard placement, because there's really no other wall within this angled floor plan that would work for placement of a bed, and egress would be really difficult. You'd have to move a bed. So looking at the rear, we're looking to demolish. And also added to the demolition is the gabled roof vent, because we are going to make the attic a part of the conditioned space, because we're going to put HVAC up there. And so building code requires that space all be sealed if you are to put HVAC up there. So that concludes my presentation, and let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions for the applicant?
The little roof vent.
Yeah.
Do you think it's original to the catalog house from the beginning?
Well, the catalog house shows a window up there, and then so does the sister house, so it's hard to say if that's original or not. It is visible on the interior of the porch, that wall that we were noticing had the original siding this morning. There is one on that end. If it is character defining in your eyes, I'm sure there's a way we could
Just break it off.
blanket off from the inside and make it work, you know,
I would
so.
Curious if it's not original to the house. I mean, it's just if you do find, you know, a lot of original siding underneath there, the more things you move, the more repairs.
Exactly, yeah, and so,
And salvaging that siding.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciate the applicant reaching out to us on this request and for the opportunity to visit the site this morning. While the original double porch at the rear has been heavily altered over time, the historic form is intact, and we encourage the applicant to pursue exploratory demolition to see if the original footprint can be identified and salvage and reuse any historic material that is discovered. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking? Frankie, if you give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff had just a couple observations. The requested demolition area is an original porch, which was enclosed. There was also a note about the window alteration, window trim. Staff had no issue with any of that changes. Staff is not opposed to the demolition of the infill porch. So staff recommendation is approval of demolition.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the staff comments?
No.
All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I had no problem with that comments. An agreement.
Yeah, the 41 or the 44 Sanborn, I think, shows the porch as a two-story porch, and interestingly, of course, you can. It's such a limited drawing, but it does look in the Sanborns like that porch was co-planar with the side of the building, and on that side, we did see what I think is probably an original sill timber for the original porch, but there's a lot of that framing has been changed, including the porches have been infilled. I mean, they were never like that at the beginning. So of course, removal of the aluminum siding is very positive. Removal of the aluminum around the windows and restoration of the windows is very positive. So I don't have a lot of heartache about taking the rear porch off. I would before I didn't really pay attention to the vent this morning
I didn't.
at the
either.
site visit,
Yeah.
and I kind of would like to know if that's original to the house, if it's possible to determine, or if it's not. And so I just might make a condition to provide staff with more information about them. And do that, then let staff make a decision about the demolition of the.
I think we can do that. We can say that if it's not original,
Yeah.
the staff's authorized to. So we would be, okay with demolition as a board if it's not original to the home. Okay.
The sister house that they found, it has the two little kind of double windows up in the gable.
Mhm.
And the kit home plans also show that, so you may end up finding that's buried up there somewhere.
Yeah.
Could be, but I agree with you about the rear porch. About all that we've got left is the roof form. So I'm comfortable with that as well. And obviously all the other miscellaneous smaller things.
How about movement of that one window?
I'm okay with
Okay.
that, yeah.
Well, this is an area where we have authority over
Yeah.
what is being done in its place, so it's.
It's when
Easier.
people come in and want to play musical chairs with half a dozen.
Yeah.
It's usually an issue. Yes, I will make a motion for approval of demolition as submitted with the condition that the applicant work with staff on determining if the front gable vent is original and and whether or not
It-
original and should be retained.
We have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition as submitted with two board conditions. That the applicant work with staff to determine if the front gable vent is original and should be retained. And two, for the applicant to wait the 30-day appeal period for pulling permits. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
I'll second.
Daryl, motion to a vote. Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
chair votes the majority, and the motion passes unanimously. All right, agenda item 5, 1130 King Street. Frankie.
And second, where I am. Okay, won't go through everything again. They are requesting conceptual approval of rear addition.
Yeah, sure. So good to see you all again. I'm gonna move quickly through the beginning of the presentation since it's a repeat of what we just saw. I just want to make sure nothing got disjointed. So if you were there at the site visit today, you saw this amazing bit of casement that has been retained. I mean, much has been demolished sadly on the interior from the previous owners, but this little bit that remains is really glorious, and we were greatly inspired by it. Its curves and its proportions inspired this proposal for the addition. We feel it must be Art Deco inspired, which is, you know, of the era of the home. And even on the front entry, there are some curves in this house too. And so we wanted to embrace the curves that this house has. Its bit of flair is exciting. So this is our proposal for the rear addition. We find that it's our contemporary interpretation of the language of that interior closet as shown in that previous slide. The addition windows follow the datum of the windows on the original house, and much of the trim datums follow it as well. We have added a frieze board, window trim, and siding that would be hopefully discovered underneath of the aluminum siding. The frieze board at the top is really just our guesstimation based on the sister house and based on the Sears drawings. It might not be there below. If there isn't siding below, we would like to add that feature. And so we're going to, you know, in that restorative process, follow those Sears illustrations and the sister house at 28 Maple to inform our decisions. So here's directly at the rear. Side view. And some working drawings showing its relationship to its neighbor, closest neighbor. Comparison of the demo proposed, we tried to make this intervention as small as possible to make this home work. The original house is at 1,527 square feet. We plan to add 187 square feet to bring it up to 1,713 square feet. So still a small home, really modest, but we feel like it's very efficient, doing a lot of work for us. You can see that addition from the roof, and then showing here the demo versus proposed. On this north elevation, we cannot have any windows, unfortunately, because of how close we are to the property line. This proposal is about 2 foot 3 inches off the property line, and 5 feet would be required to allow for 25% glazing in that wall. And within the floor plan, it's not really needed for us. If you could see today on the site visit how close the homes were, you would just be looking at the neighbor's wall there. So that concludes my presentation. Just kind of moving through these. Let me know if you have any questions.
I do. What's the
Yeah.
material of the curb on the exterior?
Well, yeah, that will be interesting. I'm hoping fiber cement panels will do that work for me. Fiber cement smooth panels.
Like a hardy plank?
Yeah, but like not a plank though, but like the smooth panels, like much of what you would use for like a soffit. It's like flexible, it's thin enough. It's like a 1/2 inch thick. Yeah,
Shoot, I'm not opposed to the curb. I just don't know how that material is gonna work.
yeah.
Do you have a?
I have never, I've certainly used, well, actually, not very much fiber stuff because of what we always do, but I'm familiar with Boral. We have used some of the, I guess, true exterior now.
Yeah.
Some of them,
Yeah.
like that, some of them, or new construction, some fiber cement. I've never tried to bend it.
Yeah,
And I have suspicions that you're gonna find.
That is not
figure
gonna-
something else. That it doesn't mean you can find something to do that with. I do have a question in your proposed elevations. You
sure.
call the siding replacement on the original house out as moral.
Oh, sure. Well, it could be, we hope that the wood is there. I guess if the wood, that would be if the wood isn't there. But let's hope that it is. I mean, is that something we would work with at staff to determine if
No,
it is
that
there or is
actually
not?
can't be approved in this area.
Okay.
Because this is in one of our eligible districts, so we could only approve a wood siding.
Okay, yeah, then that's what we would go with, the wood siding, yeah.
Thank you, Fillmore. I missed that.
Yeah,
Is that for the existing structure or the addition?
For the existing structure.
The existing structure.
that's what you do then, yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Yep.
Do we have anyone speaking?
Laurel Fay with Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciates the applicant reaching out to us on this request, and we are pleased to offer our support of this project as it is appropriately differentiated from the historic structure, reads of its time, and takes design cues from unique historic features on the interior. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking? All right, Frankie, if you'll give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff observations that we have no issue with the height, scale, or mass. The proposed is stepped in from the existing structure, and we are recommending conceptual approval with any work conditions and preliminary final review by staff.
Thank you, Frankie. Ms. Anderson, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the staff comments? All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I think the addition is fine. I really like it. And the only sort of slight caveat I have is that I would want a board condition to make sure that the roof of the addition does not impede on the returns on the gable of the main house, and that they may not, but in elevation, it's hard to tell. In elevation, they look like they're right lamp up against them, and they should not be in contact with the returns, in the original house. The only other, like I said, I think it's a really nice adaptation of an addition and appropriately scaled. The only other comment I would have is that what's going to make this work is the level of materials and workmanship.
Mhm.
And I am just personally a little suspicious that the level of materials is not what you're going to need to make this really look the way you want it to look.
Sure, yeah.
I have a board comment to encourage the applicant to consider higher level materials on the addition.
I completely agree with everything you said. Nothing to add.
I just think it's really cool that we got to see the inside of the house where the inspiration was from. Like that was me. So Fillmore, did you make a motion?
I think, oh, yes, I guess, yes.
Okay. I've got two board conditions here. Okay.
Official approval of the addition.
Okay, conceptual approval, with,
Board condition to ensure that the roof of the addition is not in contact with the returns on the rear gable of historic house, and a board comment to encourage the applicant to select appropriately high level materials for the exterior addition.
got it. All right, do I have a second to Fillmore's motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Put the motion to a vote. Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 6, 110 Congress Street. Frank, if you'll give us an introduction or overview of the project, please.
Yeah, material.
So what you.
Okay, 110 Congress Street is in North Central Council District 4. It is not surveyed circa 1955 in the historic materials demolition purview. They're requesting approval for a partial demolition of rear exterior wall. This is property location on Congress Street. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you so much. My name is Haley Phillips and I'm actually the homeowner. My architect is out of town, so I'll be giving this presentation today. If you'll bear with me, I've never done this before. So we're looking at a minor demolition to accommodate a small addition at the rear of the house. So this proposal aims to respect the historic context while improving the long-term usability. So here we have the zoning. The property is zoned DR2F with no changes proposed to the zoning or use. The proposed addition is within the allowable building envelope and meets all setback and height requirements. This is a conforming residential project seeking to preserve and continue the use of a contributing mid-century home. Okay, so here is the survey. This shows the footprint and the proximity to the adjacent homes. The area affected by this demolition is located at the rear northwest corner. So it is not visible from Congress Street and it is only partially visible from Dingle Street due to its location and just the angle of the view and the house on the lot. So we looked into the history of this house a little bit because it has a pretty funky exterior. So Sanborn maps from 1955 confirm that the home was originally constructed in concrete block. So there's no indication of mosaic tile or any finish beyond the structural concrete block at that time of construction. And then the house changed ownership in 1971. And by 1973, we see the porch enclosure. And this aligns with a broader trend in the 1970s of adding decorative treatments like mosaic tile, metal awnings, and ornamental ironwork to existing post-war houses. So these elements were not part of the 1955 construction, but were retrofitted during that later renovation period in the 70s. And on the next slide, we have some photos of the exterior. Here, as you can see, the entire house is mosaic tile. These photos further support that the tile is non-original. When the porch was reopened, we found the original concrete block basically on the original wall. And that was intact behind the tile, indicating that the veneer was added after the porch became interior space. And this kind of alteration using the mosaic to cover the block or aging siding is well documented in preservation literature as a decorative mid-century retrofit. Okay. Here you can see the proposed demolition affects like a very small section of the wall at the rear near a 1990s addition that is still existing off of the back of the house. So we're preserving the original corner of the house. We're keeping it as a visible reference point. The demolition area includes only 10 linear feet of visible wall and does not impact the roof line, massing, or any street facing elevation. This site plan illustrates the work is well within the rear setback. And the demolition is isolated to a part of the house that is minimally visible, even from the side street. So here are elevations with before and after conditions. This is highlighting the limited visibility of the affected wall. The addition remains subordinate in scale and visually shielded from both Congress and Dinkle Street. So that is the summary. Thank you so much for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well done.
Any questions?
I have one. Is all the demolition of the wall to occur below the eave of the roof?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking? All right, Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff just have an observation that we have no objection to the partial wall demo on the north elevation under the eave and retaining corner. Staff recommendation is approval of demolition.
Thank you, Frankie. Ms. Phillips, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the staff comments? Okay. All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. I agree with staff.
I would like to say I'm very happy that you're appreciative of the tile. Most people would not be. I think it's a really quirky, kind of cool thing.
Did you make a motion?
Yes. Demolition approval as submitted with the condition that retain a minimum of 6 inches of the rear corner of the building.
It says 8 inches.
8 inches.
She has it.
So 8 inches then, they're 6.
Do you want to put as submitted?
As submitted, yes.
The only board condition is to wait the 30 days. Okay. We have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition as submitted with the board condition that the applicant wait the 30-day appeal period before pulling permits. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
A second.
Thank you, Becky. I put the motion to a vote. Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky.
Yeah, in favor.
Chair votes to the majority and the motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 7, 331 Ashley Avenue. Frankie, if you give us an introduction or overview of the project, please.
Sorry. Going so fast. 331 Ashley is in Westside, Council District 6. It is not surveyed circa 1930 in historic materials demolition purview. Requesting approval for partial demolition, including piazza infill, piazza screen, concrete steps, selected site walls, and complete demolition of rears and block structure. This is the property's location on Ashley. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening, board members, Erin here with Julia Martin Architects. Thank you for joining us on site this morning to take a look at the Freedman's Cottage at 331 and the garage behind it. The general scope of this project is to rehabilitate this little building, including elevating it 2 feet to comply with the flood zone requirements and then sensitively adding a small addition to the rear. So we will need to replace and remove some non-historic elements and reconfigure the piazza screen, an entry area to allow for additional steps to the new finished floor level. Additionally, we are asking to remove the deteriorated concrete block shell of a former garage that is also on this property just behind 333 Ashley to the north. We are lucky enough to have had Kevin Epperly share a thorough research he did on the history of this corner, which has been really helpful in understanding the evolution of this building and guiding our approach to this renovation. This is the existing site layout, which shows the areas to be removed in orange, including the non-original piazza screen and infill, miscellaneous site walls and shading, and then the ruins of the former garage. The property lines on this site have recently been reconfigured. This corner has always been 2 lots and owned together since at least the 1930s. The Freedman's Cottage at 331 was constructed around 1908 with significant alterations dating to the 1970s. The duplex at 333 was constructed around 1968 and replaced a former 1-story residence. And then the garage structure appears to have been added sometime around 1947. No changes are planned for the duplex. And the outdoor common space that accompanies these 2 dwellings will be reconsidered and improved upon as part of this project. So here are some photos of the Freedman's Cottage as we saw this morning, as well as some detailed photos of the areas that were added or modified in the 1970s. Then the upper or right side photos there are that garage structure at the rear. This is the existing floor and roof plan, again with the areas highlighted to be removed in orange. And it's a little hard to see here, but there's also an outline of what we believe to be the original or early footprint of this building. So this section here appears to be as old as we can tell based on the sandboard maps. I mean, it's shown on all the sandboard maps, and then the piazza would have stepped in. So it is our intention to officially replace non-historic fenestration, and then in elevating the building, obviously the foundation would get replaced, and we would need to remove the brick piazza screen that was added in the 70s to rework, and our intention is to reopen a significant portion of the porch. It is also our intention to remove so this area of infill as well as about half of this infill, we're holding on to this little section, but it's our plan to retain the quarter board that's there that delineates that sort of original volume from the infill. And then you can see here on the roof plan, just that small section of roof that would go away, and then that's the screen as well. Alright, so here are our existing elevations, just to further illustrate those elements to be removed. Again, the brick foundation, piazza screen, and the infills all date to approximately 1971, according to Kevin's research. And elevating, we're excited about the opportunity to reopen a significant portion of the porch and expose the original windows and entry door that are still preserved in there. I'll just end by saying that while we're not permitted to share our proposed drawings with you guys, we did share them with preservation groups and with Kevin, and it's our understanding that they are not opposed. I won't speak for them, but that is my understanding. That's all I have, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Well, Bay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciates the applicant reaching out to us, and we appreciate that the scope of demolition proposed is limited to previously altered areas and facilitates elevation of this historic property. While the board cannot consider the proposed design, we've had the opportunity to review rehabilitation drawings and are supportive of this overall project, which will elevate and restore this historic Freedman's Cottage and serve as an example for others in the West Side neighborhood and beyond.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking? All right. Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Okay, so just some observations. Staff has no objection to removal of non-historic elements, including removal of CME wall. We were concerned about documentation, if any, needed for the garage structure, as BAR is typically opposed to demolition of garages in this area, as they tell the vehicular history of the peninsula. So staff recommendation would be deferral of garage for documentation or an approval of all other demolition. Alan Fillmore has a different view since he looked in the garage this morning.
Thank you, Frankie. Aaron, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the staff comments? The public
I
comment?
think the only thing I would say is, we're happy to document, I guess, the garage. I feel confident if there was more to know about its history, that Kevin would have found it, and he knows what he knows by doing thorough research of the ownership and the building permits. And it is not our intention for anything to go back there. It's kind of important for the working of the site that there be a space for the people that live in these two dwellings to have somewhere to park. And so I say that, we're not going to replace it with another structure, if that,
Thank you. All right, public comment, and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and vote.
I certainly have no objection to anything going on with Freedman's Cottage. I think that's all very positive. Appreciate opening up the enclosure on the porch and turning in, getting rid of the much later Gaza screen. So I think that's all very positive. I'm like 4 blocks away, so I got there a little walking down and didn't have a chance to go. I looked at the photographs, but that was all.
I did.
Yeah, and for me, of course, the Belt Hill would probably be more kind of block. And is it made out of? We don't have a definitive date for construction. I'll ask a question. Do you have a definitive date for the construction?
Kevin seems to believe that it was like 1947. But I believe it has been in the state that it's in for quite some time. I think there was garage, ground floor, and an apartment above, and then maybe at one time it was like used as somebody's, workshop or something like that. But it's not contemporaneous with, either of the structures that are on the property now, if that makes sense. It's not like it was built with this house or that house, it was separate from.
I tend to agree with Fillmore. Everything that's going on with the Freedman's Cottage is great. It seems like most of it is, undoing bad things done to it in the past. So, and I don't really have an issue with the garage. It's very little that's left of it.
Yeah, I mean.
I think the pictures made it seem like there was more of it than there actually is.
Looking at the photographs and Googling it, it appears to be more, it certainly could be 1940s, looking at it, but it's concrete, it's 4 concrete block walls.
That's all that's left.
And that's all that appears to be left, so I don't think I have a problem knocking it down.
I make a motion for approval as submitted.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition as submitted with just a board condition that the applicant wait the 30-day appeal period before pulling permits. Do I have a second to Becky's motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Fillmore. Put the motion to the vote. Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
Fillmore.
Yeah.
The chair vote to the majority and the motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 9, 148 Smith Street has been deferred by the applicant. Wait, I'm sorry, I'm moving way ahead. Agenda item 8, 318 Sumter Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was copying and pasting. Okay. 318 Sumter Street is in Westside, Council District 6. It is a Category 3 circa 1915 in the historic materials demolition permit. They're requesting approval for partial demolition of front door openings and trim space between doors. This is the property's location on Sumter Street. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Okay, this is a pretty straightforward. The current facade front of the house has 2 separate front doors. It was currently a duplex. I believe it originally was a duplex as well. We're turning it into a single family home. The actual doors are not original to the house. They're they have stickers on the side of them. They're from about 5-6 years. When those doors, the previous owner replaced the doors. Original doors are about 7 feet tall. These current doors are 6'8" and they're a little bit wider. So they adjusted the original opening of the door. It's already been done. As we see here, you can see the double doors. The part that they adjusted, they went on the inside of both doors, cut the trim and cut the original front opening of the door to accommodate these 2 larger doors. Makes sense. So that the part that's facing each other is not original. That's the part that I'm requesting to demo is this part of the siding and the framing that goes behind it and this trim. I know I can't tell you what I'm doing there, but there's that's it. The glass above is gonna stay. The doors are not original, so that's it'll be better than that. Here you can kind of see what they were doing on the inside and just to accommodate those doors. Just notched out basically the opening. So I would like for all of the trim to be uniform. Any questions about the intention?
I assume this was originally built as a duplex, like a lot of them in that area.
You know, I I looked back, there aren't any permits that were pulled.
Yeah.
And I was reading some history about the neighborhood and this part, it does seem like a lot of them were built as duplexes. And so I think it's a pretty big house. I think for 1915, it would have been, in that part of town, it would have been unusual for somebody to have a 3,400 square foot, single family home, you know? That's just my deductive reasoning there. But I don't have any concrete, but.
Any other question? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have anyone speaking?
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning and noticed that it is one of a few sister houses on the street. Given there is evidence to suggest that the two-door openings have been altered, we are not opposed to the request to remove the trim. However, historic newspaper articles reference the circa 1915 building as being a duplex as early as 1924 and was likely originally built as such. Therefore, we ask that the historic dual entry configuration and transom windows be retained to speak to the history and evolution of this house. Thank you.
Utility Historic Charleston Foundation, we appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning. Historically, the property appears to have been built as a duplex, as suggested by the matching configuration of the adjacent house. We would like to request that the transoms be preserved in order to maintain a clear understanding of the building's original historic configuration. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking? All right,
I
Frank,
would say I agree with the transom.
thank you. Frankie, if you give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
Okay, so staff had some observations. The double front doors are character defining features and they tell the history of the house. And just if the board does not approve, in districts where BAR has additional jurisdiction, staff has made some recommendations for other remedies to indicate a structure retains the two front doors and but is now a single unit. And that is included removing the door knocker and mail slots, removing street numbers if they're additional, paint the main entry door an accent color and use the unused door, the body color of the house. And I feel like there was another one we talked about this morning, but I can't remember what it was, so I apologize. And staff is more than happy to make additional suggestions if the board does not approve demo. Staff recommendation is denial of demolition.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that I'm not requesting to demo the whole door. It's the space in between the doors. I like the look of two doors there, but since this is changing, stop me if I'm saying too much.
It would be really helpful if we knew what you were doing, but we can't.
I know.
Be really helpful.
So I want to maintain the original integrity of having double front doors with transoms over it. The removal of the space in between will allow an alteration of the side, or I guess not there.
Okay,
So the clarifying, I'm not trying to remove that whole right door. It's just the space in between.
all the frame and space between.
All the framing and the space in between. Yeah, but since I'm not requesting to remove, the transom above that other one.
Just to clarify for you and everyone, if you are changing the opening sizes at all of the doors or the transom, that's considered demolition of that. So basically, if the door size or the transom size changed into one transom, two transoms, two doors, French doors, any of that would be considered demolition. If that helps.
Yeah, the transoms can But I'm not trying to change, I'm not trying to demo the transoms. There's gonna be a space in between, but
So the historic transoms are remaining, those
Yeah.
won't be touched.
the historic transoms will not be touched.
What about the framing? Cause you said the framing, and I know we're in your response period, but we can ask questions.
Yeah.
So you said the framing along the sides of those two doors?
Yep. For a larger rough opening for doors, but the transoms will stay.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I don't think I can say any more about volume my intention.
I don't think
My
you
full
can.
plan.
Sorry, it's not helpful at all.
Thank you. All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
It's the, if you take out the framing between those two doors, it's a single opening. I mean, it doesn't matter how you sort of configure putting them back. It's a single opening and it's a significant change to the character of concept of this being obviously being in most of its life a duplex, originally built as a duplex. So I would not support the removal of the siding or the framing in between the two doors as submitted.
What would you support?
As
Just trying to give
submitted.
the,
Yeah, I mean, all we can vote on is what's before us, and we can make conditions about that, but I don't think there is a condition I can make that would
not
that would
condition,
solve the problem of removing the framing between the two doors as submitted.
Would it be possible to say, approval of demolition needed to return the two doors and doorway entrances to their original condition?
I don't think there's any significant, I mean, I think that's a repair or placement in kind or as original and could be handled staff level. I think I would encourage the applicant obviously to return the doors to their original configuration. You've got a sister house next door that might work. I kind of very closely with there, but it might work as a guide. Clearly the leaves that are there now are not original, they're bigger, slightly bigger, and so that's the opening's been modified to that extent. But I think that if you were gonna retain the original two-door configuration, that you could probably work with staff on what the minor alterations would be required to do that.
Could that not be considered a repair, just kind of
If it's
trying to take it back to what it
to an original,
Replacement of the door leaves, which are not original,
right,
to a more appropriate, which would require modification of the casing and maybe, I think maybe part of the door jamb. To return it to its original size, it seems like that would be kind of a repair.
I think we could do that as a repair, if. Do you think if we did proportionally like with the sister house, or one of the sister houses?
That was the request.
I mean, I think staff could do that as a repair if it was going to like a proportion like that. I think we could review that as a repair. If that is something the applicant requests.
I think what you and I are both saying, we want to be able to retain the look of the two doors.
Yes, and I think that's exactly, and since we don't have any beyond, is it okay to take all the framing out between those two doors? I couldn't.
because if we take all the framing out between the two doors,
Then you have
I
a
mean,
single opening.
yeah, it's a single opening and
You have a single opening in it, and we have no control over how it gets configured after that. It could be a glass slide I mean, I'm not suggesting that it would be, but what I'm saying is that's what it feels.
Well, that's what- The question I was
We don't
asking
have any
earlier,
control over what goes back.
just some general board commentary on like what level of demolition here the board would approve if it were proposed, because I'm sensitive that
Oh, I think
I have a historic duplex that we converted, but our doors are on different sides, so it's easy to differentiate. And then this one, the doors are side by side, so I understand. Is this competing, our charge here is to, preserve the character and the history. But it's being converted to a single family home, so.
clearly, I think that, restoring the trim to its original size would be a repair, not demolition,
As well as the doors.
as well as the door
Mm-hmm.
leaves would be a repair and not demolition. And so when you need to come to us, it could be handled at staff level. So I would agree with staff and make a motion for denial of demolition as submitted.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor for denial of demolition as submitted. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You, Bill, put the motion to a vote. Becky,
Yay in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Fillmore,
In favor.
Bill.
Yay in favor.
Chair vote to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Agenda item 9, 148 Smith Street has been deferred by the applicant. We are on agenda item 10, 55 Elizabeth Street. And similar to the earlier application, so we're just going to look at the demo first, go through that, and then you'll give a presentation on agenda item 11. So Frankie, if you give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
55 Elizabeth is in the Garden District. It is a category 4 in the architectural inventory circa 1890 in the Old Historic District. First, we are requesting approval for complete demolition of the rear shed. And this is the property's location on Elizabeth. I will turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening, I'm David Gonzalez with Public Regard. Thank you all for the morning site visit. We are requesting full demolition of a rear shed. This is the main house, which is currently under renovations. And these are photos of that rear shed in the back. We feel it's not historic. It only appears in Sanborn maps later on. It is on a concrete pad, as you guys saw today. It has 2x4 framing. It has a metal roof, so non-historic materials. And then these are the Sanborn maps here. And that's it.
Are there any questions for the applicant? All right, do we have anyone speaking? Frank?
Some observations. The existing structure is poor quality construction, and it's not the original garage building per Sanborn maps. And staff is not opposed to the demolition, so staff recommendation is approval of the demolition.
Thank you. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything?
No, thank you.
All right, we are now in board discussion and vote.
I agree with staff's assessment and recommendation.
Daryl, do you want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve demolition.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition. With a board condition to wait 30-day appeal period. Do I have a second to Daryl's motion?
A second.
Thank you, Becky. I'll put the motion to a vote. Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yay in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky.
Yay in favor.
Here goes the majority and the motion passed unanimously. All right, agenda item 11, 55 Elizabeth Street. Frankie?
This request is for conceptual approval of a new carriage house. property, and I will turn it over to the applicant again.
Great, thank you. So again, just photos of the site, and I'll just fast forward here. So just starting with the architectural precedent, the original, or not original, but the structure that's there, it's single story. Really the main driving factor is that there is no parking on site, and so we're trying to allow for that for the new stewards of this property. And so really it's cutting back kind of halfway through the shed. And so, but generally we still want to keep the same scale of it. And so with that, we looked around Charleston. There's different precedent of forms, simple, modest buildings. Some are stucco, some are brick that we use for inspiration. There's also this form that's shown here, here, and here that exists on properties adjacent. And so we took inspiration from that. And so this is the site plan. So right now, this is the main house. Here's the carriage house. We've it's a little hard to tell, but there's a big rectangle here that shows the current shed that's there today. We're cutting it halfway to allow for a car. And then it's just a single story carriage house with a minor bump out that's the bathroom. Floor plans, elevations. And then we have kind of a conceptual rendering there.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Thanks. Hi, my name is Fred Willis, and I head up a development committee, for lack of a better description, for the Garden District. We have not met or had an opportunity to meet with the applicants. And so we just received these plans once they were posted on Friday. So I did send them out as best I could, and I wanted to just address one comment or along the same issue. If you get into, I believe it's A104. A104. This property went before the BZAC in February for a variance for setbacks. And as part of that application, they approved a 245 square foot accessory structure. Now, some folks sent me some figures saying that the footprint as shown here is about 18 feet larger than the 245 square feet. So the main comment I got back, and I certainly checked the math, but I'd invite you to check the math. It came out at about 263 square feet using the dimensions on that footprint. And we would ask that the project meet the BZAC standard of 245 square feet, or invite them to go back to the BZAC and ask for the additional square footage, again, if what we see is correct. We certainly applaud the renovation of the house located at 55. It's been desperately needed for many, many years. So we're excited about that. But according to what I'm told, the BZAC application is pretty much a bright line. So if you go over that, you need to come back and ask for additional square feet based on how the BZAC works. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking?
Fred, what was that square footage that you mentioned?
263.
263?
Yeah, our lot coverage is 245 on this submission. Not sure of the discrepancy or not aware of it, but we can definitely look into that.
Anyone else speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff had some observations. First of all, the faux garage carriage house doors, should read more as a door, and we consider touching the ground. In the drawings, it looks like it was kind of floating. Bump out shouldn't read as an addition, as that creates a false sense of history. And the proposed structure is smaller than the previous structure and subordinate to the main house. Staff conditions for approval, we recommended restudying proportions of the window in the faux garage door, shifting that door to touch the ground. And then the massing of the whole should read as the same building campaign, not as a building and an addition. Our recommendation on that was really to restudy the materials to be more cohesive, so it doesn't read as separate structures or campaigns. Staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with board and staff conditions and preliminary final review by staff.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you all want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the staff comments?
The door, the one thing I wanted to say about what you're referring to, the faux garage doors, it only lifted because there is no necessarily like grade right there, so it was just a little bit of a bump up, but we can address that. And then
We think that's really a matter of detailing. more
Right.
than anything.
Yeah, I think,
for sure,
yeah, once the driveway is added, it would be at that level.
right.
Anything else? All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
Stylistically, I don't really have an issue, but I do agree with Frankie that that lean-to on the side does look like, it's kind of give you the false impression that of an older building that's been added to. So I don't know if it's just a matter of some of the detail, changing that, maybe changing the material or what, but I do think that that's the part that needs to be worked on. And of course, the garage door, once you get a driveway up to it, I'm sure it's sitting at the top of the slab is what it is.
I actually have a problem that the application does not include a streetscape. So the required, actually, both streetscapes. So I think it's important to evaluate the structure in regard to the adjacent structures and the scale and materials. So.
Yeah, we do have a rendering that does show the proportions of the buildings, the main house, and the neighboring two structures.
I think they should clarify with the neighborhood, the zoning issue, and provide a streetscape, personally.
I mean, I don't know that there was. That there was those streetscapes, there was only the rendering. And,
Right.
And then normally with a freestanding initial. That's visible. Streetscape, headed by this general requirement for the submittal would be a streetscape. So I did have that comment as well. I agreed with staff that, I looked at the faux garage doors and they look like they didn't come all the way to the ground. So they either ought to read as garage doors or they ought to be reconsidered somehow from the vote. It should be reconsidered. Yeah, but if they are going to read as garage doors, read faux garage doors, but I think you could make it convincing. I'm still back to I think it's an attractive little building, except I have an issue with the appendage on the side. It reads as something tacked on later. I think that it should be reconsidered if you need that extra space and it actually meets zoning. And if zoning is 240 or 240 something, this is clearly bigger. It's 260 something, I think. I just ran the numbers really quickly. Yeah, but it looks like it's closer to 260. And so I think the zoning issue needs to be worked out. And the material palette is attractive, it is a little incongruous with modest material palette and the design. I think it's incongruous with the very modest material palette and design of the storage structure. I do not think it's an attractive building, like I said, except for the appendage. But that's where a streetscape might help. I mean, it might convince me that that thing does fit that streetscape, but the rendering, you know, does not really accurately demonstrate what the primary building looks like, and it doesn't give me any idea of what how that thing blends into the streetscape. And so I'm just struggling a little bit because of the lack of that. Make a decision. I'm not saying that I disapprove of the little building. I'm just saying I'm not sure because I don't exactly know how it fits in.
Refresh my memory, the house itself, the addition on the back, that was wood siding, was it?
Siding.
Okay.
Daryl, what do you think?
I don't have anything to add. I think I agree with him on the it looks like a later appendage on the side. Other than that, I think it's a cute little building. Yeah. It's masked well.
Okay, so is this a deferral? Is this a, you know, approval with some conditions, including confirmation of the zoning? I guess that would change the massing.
I almost think it's a deferral because I mean, a streetscape would have been helpful. That's why I was asking about refreshing my memory about what was going on the back of the house that we approved. So it would be nice to see an elevation drawing of the streetscape, so we see the building materials of the house versus the other structure. And then also just to double check that if there is a zoning issue, that would give the chance for that to happen as well.
And the streetscapes are a requirement. I mean, that's a requirement on the application. So I mean,
Bill, did you make a motion?
Yes, I'd make a motion for deferral. Based on board discussion. And the applicant is to come back with a streetscape drawing. I'd say board discussion and staff comment.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for deferral, based on board discussion and staff comments, and for the applicant to submit a streetscape drawing and also to look at the zoning issue.
Yes.
Do we have a second to Bill's motion?
I'll second.
Fillmore, the motion to a vote. Becky,
in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
your vote to the majority, and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Thanks. Agenda item 12 is 13 Trumbo Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
Yes, ma'am. 13 Trumbo Street is in Charleston Village, Council District 8. It is not. Excuse me, this is the new construction. It's in the old and historic district. They are requesting conceptual approval for new single family home. The property's location in Trumbo, and I will turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening, I'm Julie O'Connor, I'm the designer on this project. I am going to start with the previously submitted, and then we'll go back just to talk about what the comments were last time from the board. So the main comment was that the roof form was still reading complicated and asking me to simplify. So I think that we've really achieved that. We've taken the dormer off of the front gable element, and we've simplified the right side with a shed roof that just then continues as it steps back and goes over the stairs. So we have less roof forms there. Also taken off the bracketed roofs that were on the front, which I think simplifies the elevation in a really beautiful way, and simplified the fenestration as well. One of the other comments was that the entry was reading kind of squatty. So didn't think you would appreciate me raising the foundation height, so I did not do that. But I did go to a single door, which I think proportionally makes it feel a lot better, and also gives us a great opportunity to add lanterns and make a more of an entry statement. Let's see, there was no concern about height, as you guys mentioned, so that was great. I did include, you know, a SketchUp, again, this time just to help a little bit with, you know, sort of how this will read. Again, as I mentioned last time, we designed this specifically so that the forward section that is closest to the street is, you know, more narrow. As we discussed, this lot is not a narrow and deep lot like most lots in Charleston. It's kind of square. So our buildable area is really confined. And so the gable element there is only 17.5 feet wide. So it reads really beautifully like a single. And then the shed element is 11 feet wide, and sort of with that simplification, I think it reads much prettier on the street. In terms of the size of the house, I did want to mention that we did a sort of survey of our own of the sizes of the houses in this immediate vicinity, and there's 24 houses that you know, are on this street or behind or near this house, and 15 of them are over 2,500 square feet. And all of the houses on our side of Trumbo are over 2,800 square feet. So I think in terms of its size, it's very appropriate for the street. I also did add the red line there is showing you what that flood zone is on that street. The street is extremely low, 4.5 feet is the lot elevation. So just wanted to give you that perspective as well. And I'd love to take questions if you have any.
Any questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Pete Dutilly, Historic Charleston Foundation. We appreciate that the architect has made efforts to simplify the design of the roof in response to feedback that we've had at previous VAR meetings. We believe that the design could benefit from drawing more inspiration from Charleston's historic architectural character. The double house style could serve as a helpful reference, especially in terms of achieving greater symmetry in the facade and enhancing the building's sense of proportion. We respectfully recommend deferral of this application so that architectural direction can be studied. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you'll give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff just had observation that the building's form and entrance have been restudied per previous board motion, and staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with any board conditions and preliminary final review by staff.
All right, Julie, do you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in public comment or the city staff comments?
Yeah, I'll just say that, you know, in terms of the architectural style of Charleston, I get the comment. This street in specific, you know, is quite an eclectic street. And a double house, I think, would read even larger on the street. So again, this was specifically designed to sort of respond and set back from the street a little bit more with its bigger parts. And of course, we have the historic magnolia tree on the front as well that further complicates the issue, but I feel like we've responded to the site in the best way possible. Thank you.
All right, public comment. The applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I know we have talked about this one a couple times. I think I am still mostly sort of concerned about the street elevation, the north elevation, and that massing in the northwest corner. I think that's I think the massing in the northwest corner is creating kind of an awkward elevation on the north, which is, this is a really, if you look at the streetscape, it's a series of, single houses and other, I know there's some random things on Trumbo Street. But these houses are all the entry is addressing the street. I think just the entry is just not addressing the street well enough. And the roof form on that northwest corner it just seems very unresolved. It's hard because you would say, oh, well, the massing looks like you could pick up a single house prototype, but you can't. Like if you paneled that and brought that down to the ground, then it's not really keeping stylistically with the rest of it. So I think there's that corner for me, and the entry is still very unresolved.
And I share your same concerns. To me, it's not that I think the scale or size of the house is.
Yeah, me neither.
is
I'm
the
fine with
problem.
that. Yeah.
It's the complex form.
Yeah.
Of all of the volumetric changes in the building. That's what I find to be so foreign to it when in relationship to everything else that is out there. And if it needed to grow a little bit to simplify the form, I would rather see that. But it's just, I feel like it's just still too complex.
I'll just start with my notes. I think visually, the street mass may have been slightly reduced by the change in the roof form on that elevation, and fenestration has been sort of simplified, unified, because with positive directions. I think overall, the mass on the street is too great. I'm not sure exactly how you fix that with this house. But I think it reads significantly larger than the other structures in the neighborhood, including the house next door, which has a fairly large streetscape, but the mass tends to step back. The roof form tends to lend itself to sort of less of a massive visual impact, and it is set back a little further from the street, even though it's a relatively large house, and when elevated, it will be as tall as this house. It's not the height. It's the mass at the street presence that I still struggle with. And I think that the general architectural direction for that part of Charleston is a little suburban, and I think it could be refined to better match the architectural direction in that neighborhood.
I don't think it's far off. I think it's that shed roof is throwing people off.
Yeah.
I think it's the two windows that are different in size over the front doors and the entry a little bit. But massing wise, I don't think it's I don't think it's you blow it up and start over. I think it's just refining those issues. And from the one big gable looks real nice, but to the right of it, it looks like the side of a house instead of the front facade. So I think that's what's catching Becky in my eyes more than anything else.
Becky? Do you want to make
I
a
would
motion?
make a motion for deferral for free study with board comments.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for deferral. for restudy with board comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Right. Thank you, Daryl. I'll put the motion to a vote. Bill,
Yay in favor.
Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky,
Yay in favor.
Daryl.
Yeah, in favor.
The chair votes to the majority and the motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 13, 106 Columbus Street has been withdrawn by staff. Agenda item 14, 15 Always Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
15 Always Street is in West Side, Council District 6. It is not surveyed circa 1935 in the Old City District. They're requesting conceptual approval for fenestration modifications, removal of a ramp, and some other alterations. The property location on Allway. And I'm going to turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening. I want to thank all of you for meeting with us. I know that I'm the only thing really standing between y'all and dinner. So we'll speed this process up a little bit. I am not quite sure if I'll be able to click through the, hopefully in the correct direction. So this home, like she was mentioning, is 1935. Over that time period, it's been through 8 different hands. And as we're looking through the pictures here in a moment, you'll notice that it's in disrepair. It's pretty bad off. There are a lot of permits that were pulled for interior, exterior repairs, roof partially repaired, but the house is falling apart. So I'm hoping that God will see it in your hearts to give us some approval so that we can get started on making her beautiful again. So here is the floor plan that we have. This is going to be for the first and second floor. It is a duplex, 2 separate doors, and you'll see in the red areas where we are trying to demo some things, especially like the walls. The first floor was a big open area with 2 weird bathrooms that were like single bathrooms, almost you would see in a public area. And then the upstairs had 4 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. So we're trying to make it more of a duplex with 2 bedrooms and 2 full baths with the baths attached to the bedrooms. Here you'll see the existing first floor and then the proposed first floor, kind of the differences between the 2, as I just mentioned. Same thing for the second floor. The living room and kitchen would be in the middle of the spaces, make it a little more communal. And then here are the elevations. So north elevation, south for the existing, and then the proposed. We're really not changing anything on the exterior of the home. It's more of the foundation and the interior that we're doing. We understand that we need to replace the siding with wood. It currently has vinyl siding on it. It looks like it was approved for vinyl siding. Give me one moment, I'm sorry so much. It looks like it was approved in 2008 is when they put this vinyl siding on there. We weren't even aware that there was wood siding under it. And we are aware now that we need to put the metal roof back on. There are 2 doors, as you see on the back of the home. At some point, there were porches and they were removed a long time ago. Looks like on the Sanborn map, you'll see 1944, the rear porches were there. And then there was a permit that went in 1981 to remove those porches. And it doesn't look like they were ever rebuilt. So it's just 2 doors on the back. Here you have the existing west and the existing and then the proposed. We're not changing anything except adding a deck for the first and second floor. So putting the porches basically back. Same thing on the east side. Roof plan. And then the wonderful foundation, which I'll let Felipe talk about that here in a second. It is more complex than I know how to explain. That's some maps kind of show you where it's located. It is in a, I would say, a less desirable neighborhood. House is directly across from Section 8 housing, which I understand may or may not be there in the next couple of years. So I would love to make this house really to bring it back to its former glory. See more maps. This one you may be a little hard to see. We're asking to move the door on the first floor, which is that right door, back to its original location. In the previous pictures, the door is in the middle where that board is at, which apparently was a window. They put the door there with two lights on the side. I want to move it back to where it originally was. Make it look like there's a sister home next door. So I want to make it look like the sister home. Permits, as I was describing, they've done several repairs, interior, exterior. I can't really see the repairs. It's a mess. Here's some pictures of the outside of the house. Currently, you can see the vinyl siding and the wood siding kind of showing through on the east side. There is a ramp on the front of this house, must have been used for ADA purposes at some point, that I believe kind of detracts from the aesthetics of the house. It's a pretty large concrete ramp, and I would love to demolish that and then actually make the front porch a front porch. You can see the rear of the home, aerial view, and then more of the foundation that it's crumbling. The intention is to repurpose as much as we can. So the wood siding on the outside, what is rotted, we want to obviously repair with like. For the shiplap on the inside of the home, we will be refinishing and repurposing in the house, so it will stay in the house. There are 2 brick chimneys in the house as well. They have, some of them have some plaster on them. We want to kind of remove that plaster so that you can actually see the beautiful brick underneath there and leave those in place. And then there was, let's see. And then for the foundation, if there needs to be anything done with the adding bricks so that it looks more like the original foundation, we can do that as well. Appraisal done because of how much money this house is going to cost for renovations. The inside comparables. We do have some window specs on here. It was identified that these are, they have some metal in them, so they will not be working. I do have window specs from Charleston Craftswork, where he will be doing actual handmade wooden windows made out of rift or quarterstone sapel. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. And then Big Bear Roofing would be doing the roof to make sure that it's appropriate for the historic area. That's it. Any questions for me? I'd love to answer. I know I talk fast and I was trying to get through it pretty quickly.
On the west elevation, when we look, when the windows that are in there now look like they were placed within larger openings that predated them.
So
are those being replaced?
yes, so when I had Charleston Craftswork look at the windows, it looks like the first floor windows are metal. I thought that they were all still the original wood. They are not. The second floor does have wood windows, but they are in pretty bad shape. He says he doesn't think that he'll be able to save those. So he's going to have to make those again. And we're making them in the same size that's already there. I can't tell if it was a larger window or we made it, someone made it a larger window at some point.
It looked like the window openings were originally larger and then someone kind of stuck little small off-the-shelf windows in within those openings.
Looks like that on a street view too.
Yeah, it shows up on Street View.
These are
would be
the
the
larger
top,
ones?
yeah, the top,
Yes, sir.
the top photo.
Yes, sir. Those are the original wood windows. Or at least they look very original to me.
Well, you can't really tell behind the shrubbery, but
Yes, sir.
when you look on the, I think it was Street View, they show up as their small windows put into previously larger openings.
When we measured those, and I could be mistaken, they were 32 by 52.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thought we were in board discussion for a second. The last application.
I have one question. So you mentioned replacement with the wood windows, but the application has a Pella window?
Correct, yes, ma'am, it does.
So that's not,
No, ma'am, it is not. I've since gone and spoken to someone that actually does the wood windows here in downtown.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Question. Your new block piers are going to be veneered with brick.
Yes, sir. If that's what Charleston needs us to do, that's what I can do. I can commandeer some of the historic bricks.
I think the house is 1930s.
1935, yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
All right, do we have anyone speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
We have some observations that they are matching the door and window locations of the sister house at 13 Allway. Sanborn maps and the existing door on the rear facade indicate that there was previously a two-story porch. I will strike my comment about the STL windows in there since they are including something with the wood windows. So I will strike both of those since they're doing wood windows. I just have those first two observations. Staff conditions for approval, which window should be wood true divided light, and the roof should be a traditional hand crimp standing seam metal with no ridge caps. Staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with board and staff conditions and preliminary and final and staff.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the staff comments?
So the windows that I just mentioned, yes, ma'am, they will be single hung windows in that wood, and then they'll be in the traditional, which on the house now, the 3 lights on top and bottom. Or 3 panes, I guess, is on top and bottom. I could be using the incorrect vocabulary. He writes windows to consist of 3/3 vertical Muntin light pattern.
Thank you. All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. Positive things happening.
Yeah, there are positive things that are happening. It's in pretty sad shape. Yeah, I was just looking on Google View, and yeah, one or two things have happened. Well, it looks like the side windows, they were, the ones that are in there now were put into openings that are larger. Would you say, or do you think it's the other way
Yeah,
around?
particularly,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
the window's much shorter
So-
than it used to be.
The question is, will the new windows match the windows that are in there now in size, or will they go back, or will they be sized to match the original openings? And I would like to make sure that they're sized to match the original openings and not just put back the size that they are now. Because the windowsill is still there of the original opening. And so it'd be very easy to do it. And then the windows that are shown on the back side to go in, they're shown as being picture framed. And those should probably be detailed to match the other windows with the using the same trim and with the beefy windowsill like the other windows as well, just for consistency. The door on the 2 doors, both the existing door on the front and then the one that you're gonna relocate. I think the one on when I looked on Google Street View, that was a panel door, like a 4 or 6 panel door. So whatever, if that door is if you're gonna keep that, just make sure that that other door is matches that door instead of going back with a totally different door. And of course, any windows that go back, I would likely, I would imagine that the 3/1 windows that are on the upstairs porch, those were probably the original light cut. So any of your new windows should probably go back to be the 3/1 windows.
It sounds like, is that what you had said? They're gonna do the 3/1?
It appears to me that he documented 3/3, but I believe he was going off of what was on the side windows.
I usually, the windows that are left on a porch, they're the most protected. So they're probably the ones that have survived the longest. So I would think you would base it off of the ones that have been protected on that porch for so many years from the weather and stuff. That's kind of what I had.
I didn't have anything to add. Cause I think staff has a comment about the roof needs to be a standing seam roof as well. Other comment? Sorry, you got it covered. Bill?
Did you want to make a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, before you do, this is out of order, but I'm the chair and I'll do it. If you'll come and look, I can show you what we're looking at on Google Street View and yeah, just so you see. This is like, I think most of them show, but this is from May 2013. See how there's this extra space? It looks like these are the original.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. And they went back in and put smaller windows.
understand.
So we would like for the windows to go to the
size.
original opening.
Understand. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Did
Thanks
you
for
want?
showing her that.
Well, I figured,
Yeah.
it's when you're describing it, and it doesn't show up on the plans that way, but
Yeah.
you can clearly see it in the street view. Okay, did you want to make a motion?
I would just say, let's see, they're asking for conceptual, is it? Conceptual approval, based on staff comments and board discussion with preliminary and final review by staff.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval based on staff comments and board discussion with preliminary and final review by staff. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
A second.
Thank you, Becky. I'll put the motion to a vote. Fillmore,
Yeah, in favor.
Daryl,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, and
Becky.
Yeah, in favor.
The chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna put Bill Fillmore with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. The motion passes.
Must have been